The Senate and the extent of its powers continues to dominate discussions in the headlines. Are the lawmakers pushing this concept of separation of powers too far? Is there any limit to their oversight functions? Can they suspend one of their own and deny representation to the constituency such lawmaker represents? These are some of the issues we examine on this episode of Law Weekly. We also have a perspective on consumer rights against the background of product liability cases that are now making the rounds in the courtrooms. Plus our weekly recap of the top trending legal stories. Hello and welcome to the program. I am Shola Shrieli. On Wednesday, the 29th of May, the Senate suspended former Majority Leader Senator Ali Ndume, representing Borno South, for a period of 6 months. His offense was raising a matter of privilege on the floor of the Senate. The Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges publicly investigated the alleged offense and presented its findings in plenary.
That Senate on vengeance after Nigerian Customs seized Senator Saraki's bulletproof Range Rover over fake documents. Dino Melea allegedly did not graduate from university. Report.
After these findings, the committee made the following recommendations.
Senator Dr. Bukola Saraki was not mentioned anywhere in the bill of lading or any document whatsoever connected with the importation or purchase of the SUV Range Rover vehicle. That Senator Dino Melea obtained a first degree in geography from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. And that 7, that having failed to cross-check facts before presented at the plenary, he could not be said to be a patriotic representative of the Senate and should be penalized to serve as a deterrent to others.
Despite the call by some lawmakers for caution, Senator Ali Ndume was suspended.
Distinguished colleagues, those in support of recommendation 3, that the suspension be for a period of 6 months, say aye. Those against saying nay, the ayes have it.
Many commentators believe that this suspension may not be unconnected with certain actions of Senator Ndume. Actions which perhaps has its roots in comments attributed to him when the Senate refused to screen the acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, the first time the presidency forwarded his name for confirmation. This action of the Senate has, however, continued to elicit reactions in certain quarters, with many dwelling on whether the lawmakers were right to have suspended the former majority leader. Lawyers also appear divided on the issue.
No legislative house in Nigeria can suspend a member for 1 single day. And we have a plethora of authorities on this. In 2010, again, I was involved in this. As a member of the House of Representatives, Senator Dino Melea and 10 others, out of frustration, submitted a petition to the EFCC alleging criminal diversion of funds by the Speaker, the Meiji Bankole-led leadership of the House. Of course, as usual, they have said, oh, this is very scandalous. The House has been terrorized. The House has been scandalized. And despite our advice, no, let the law take its course. An investigation, a petition has been sent to appropriate agency of government, to the appropriate agency. Take your hands off it. No. Dino Melea and 10 others were suspended indefinitely. We went to court. I went to court for them. And the court said, under your own rules, you cannot suspend a member for more than 14 days. Under what law did you suspend these 11 members of the House of Representatives for an indefinite period of time? In 2012, the only single female member of the House and the only Christian member of the House out of 31 members was suspended indefinitely because she made a contribution which the men in the House consider rather infra dignitate. Oh, how can you insult us? And they suspended her indefinitely. At the Court of Appeal, the law now was properly examined. The relevant constitutional provisions were considered by the Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal ruled that no legislative house has the power to suspend a member, even for a single day, which overruled the Dino Melaye case about 14 days. No, because the court said, when you do that, you have violated the democratic rights of the people of Bogoro constituency, represented by the lady that was involved, Honorable Rikifatu Dana, aka Honorable Baby. And that is the law today.
The Senate can suspend their airing member. Gossett versus Bradlaugh law report is an old case in England. A member of the legislature, I think House of Commons or House of Lords, misrepresented himself when he was coming up before the Senate. And they said, no, we will stand suspended until you acquit yourself of this misconduct. And it was approved by the courts. In Nigeria, we have also heard that, even without prejudice to reading the Legislative Houses Powers and Privileges Act, which is still a law in our the body of our laws, the Senate at common law, the legislature at common law, has always been accepted that they can run their domestic affairs. And by running their domestic affairs, the same way civil service doesn't need to go to court to use civil service rules to discipline erring civil servants, the same way police doesn't need to go to court to use orderly room trial to discipline erring policemen, the same way the legislature has the power to discipline erring members using their own internal affairs. If you feel, and that's what I advise Senator Ali Ndume, it's not about whether the Senate has power. Senate has the power to suspend his member without prejudice, of course, to the fact that it may, like some people have argued, affect the rights of the constituents to be represented.
I think if a member is erring, it's like cautioning the person. They've not asked him to return to his constituency. They've not removed him. They can't remove him from the place, but they suspended him. I think nothing's wrong with that.
Another issue that has continued to divide lawyers is whether the Senate has the powers to summon the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Isseh Sagi.
A committee of the House or the House can summon any person. You say any person. It didn't say some people. Any person. It didn't say whether those elected or not elected. Any